For nearly 20 years, millions of people believed they were watching a mockumentary about a struggling paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They laughed at awkward meetings, uncomfortable silences, and an impossibly incompetent regional manager. But what if The Office was never a documentary at all? Not what if it's fake. Obviously, it's fake. It's a show. I know that. I mean something stranger. What if, inside the logic of the show itself, the thing the crew told everyone they were making was never the real reason they were there at all? I've watched all 201 episodes with this question running in my subconscious, and the show keeps handing you pieces that fit a little too well. So let's build the case properly, in order, starting with the detail that bothered me first. Who is actually holding the camera? For most of the show's 9 years, the answer is functionally nobody. The crew doesn't get named, barely gets shown, never gets thanked. But it isn't in full silence, and the exceptions are stranger than the silence would have been. Season 4, Dunder, Mifflin, Infinity. Michael drives his car into a lake. There's a cameraman inside the car. He keeps filming the car sinking, from inside it, before calmly climbing up the back. Season 3. Michael threatens to jump off the roof onto a bounty castle. A cameraman is explicitly stationed up there with him, assigned to document the stunt, not talk him down. Season 5. The building catches fire during stress relief. The crew keeps rolling while Dwight blocks the exit and Stanley has a heart attack. Nobody puts the camera down to help.
Hey, help her! Hey.
Nobody puts the camera down ever. In 9 years, no matter what's happening in front of it. So the rule isn't no crew. The rules are keep filming.
Why are you even filming this?
No matter what. No matter the consent. Sometimes keep filming things the subjects never agreed to be part of. What if that's not sloppy documentary ethics? What if it's a job description? Rules you'd only give a crew that was never making a documentary in the first place. It's not a documentary. It's the world's largest artificial general intelligence dataset, comprised of all human reactions and emotions ever assembled. Every second of it already labeled with the reason behind it. Exactly what you'd need to train a machine to understand people. So if it's not a documentary, if it's a large-scale data collection program, somebody has to be gathering 9 years of material. Real offices are mostly boring. This one never is. So what's producing 9 straight years of never repeating social scenarios? The one person in that building whose behavior doesn't fit any pattern the rest of the cast follows. Every day he's given a script for a brand new situation. The causation for reactions, and the situations never repeat. Diversity Day, a sensitivity training gone catastrophic. The booze cruise, forced proximity on a boat nobody can leave. Public humiliation, enforced proximity, financial betrayal, physical risk, cultural offense. 9 years, hundreds of catastrophic situations. The one person in that building that's exempt from the things that happen to everyone else in it. What if Michael Scott was never the boss? What if he was the only performer in the entire building? A stimulus generator, placed there on purpose, whose actual job was to manufacture as much unpredictable human behavior as possible for 9 straight years, while everyone around him believed, completely and honestly, that they were being filmed for a documentary. Because as far as they knew, they were. He explained a line I used to think was a throwaway joke. Early on, Michael says, "I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious." A deliberately malformed piece of language dropped into an ordinary moment to see how the room responds to something slightly wrong. He runs that exact test at every scale, small talk to entire episodes, for 9 seasons. It explains his ending, which is the detail that actually convinced me. He doesn't get fired, no villain turn, he falls in love with Holly Flax, gives his notice, and leaves quietly, before the official finale, before the in-universe documentary even airs. If everyone else in that building is a real, unwitting participant, they'll need an explanation once filming wraps. Michael doesn't need that explanation. He already knows what the cameras were for. He's the only person in the show who gets to leave clean, on his own terms, before anyone else finds out there was ever anything to explain. That's not a character arc. That's finishing a contract. Once you accept there was one performer, the show starts showing you what happens when you test the theory itself. Because it runs that exact experiment twice, in plain sight, and both times it fails the same specific way. First, Michael Scott Paper Company, Season 5 into 6. Michael quits, starts a rival paper company down the street with Pam and Ryan, and actively tries to sink Dunder Mifflin's Scranton branch. For half a season, the stimulus generator is physically removed from the environment. What happens to the study population left behind? Almost nothing. The office goes quiet. Conflicts that used to escalate just don't. The moment Michael's gone, the material dries up, which is itself the data point. Remove the variable, the output flatlines. He gets reabsorbed back into Dunder Mifflin within the season. Corporate buying out his company specifically to bring him back inside the building so the material can start again. Second, the show spends its final 2 seasons trying to replace him, out loud, on screen, 4 separate times, and every single replacement fails in a different, specific way. D'Angelo Vickers, brought in from another branch, collapses mid-address on his first day and never fully recovers. Andy Bernard, promoted from the inside, is too anxious and too self-monitoring to generate anything. Robert California, installed above him as the new CEO, is unsettling rather than chaotic. Charles Minor is parachuted in from the corporate specifically to professionalize the branch. You don't get 4 failed successions in a row by accident. You get that when a show is quietly proving its own premise. It was never a boss. It was a specific person doing a specific job, and the job wasn't replaceable. Now look at who's standing around our workers. The camera crew. Those rules I told you to hold on to. Because for 9 years, the wall between crew and subject holds completely until the final season when it breaks exactly twice, and what happens each time is the clearest confirmation this whole theory gets. Exhibit A. Brian Whittle, the boom operator, starts appearing as an actual character in the final season because he breaks the one rule that had been explicitly stated to the crew for 8 straight years. He steps out from behind the equipment to comfort Pam while she's crying. Not narrating, not filming, comforting her, directly, on camera, in a way no crew member had done once in 8 seasons. Later, he defends her against an angry warehouse worker, and for that, he's fired. For the exact thing every crew member had been trained not to do for nearly a decade. He later admits he has feelings for her. Every other moment someone might have wanted to step in, the fire, the lake, the car accident, we never learn what happens to a crew member who does, until Brian Whittle. Exhibit B. Dwight and Angela's affair. Throughout Season 9, the documentary crew captures multiple secret meetings between Dwight and Angela. Meetings neither of them wanted anyone to witness. Yet the cameras were already there before the conversations began. The crew wasn't stumbling onto a secret. They were waiting for it. Secretly, in the background, were every personal moment amongst the office staff. So why does the rule break exactly here and nowhere else in 9 years? because the study was ending. The cover story, the in-universe broadcast, an American workplace was already scheduled. Whatever protocol had kept 8 years of crew invisible didn't need to hold anymore, because the subjects were about to get their happy ending. The wall didn't get knocked down. It got let down, on schedule, right before the lights came up. Which brings us to the finale, where the show basically hands you the whole premise. After 9 years, the crew reveals the documentary is finally airing under the title An American Workplace. Everyone gathers to watch it broadcast in a single evening. 9 years of footage? Unless the broadcast itself was never the point. Just the story the real, unwitting subjects needed, so nobody ever had to tell them the true one. So what if Dunder Mifflin itself was never really about paper? A mid-sized regional company nobody outside Scranton respects, acquired partway through by a larger, eccentric parent corporation that restructures everything and then vanishes again with barely an explanation. A paper company is exactly the cover you'd want. Boring enough that nobody watches from outside. Small enough that an embedded crew doesn't look strange. And a genuine workplace, with genuine hierarchy and genuine financial stress, supplying every real social pressure a person actually lives under. Stanford, Utica, Nashua. Multiple studies simultaneously being performed with subjects being transferred throughout, under the guise of a corporate merger. This is a large-scale operation. It's bigger than Dunder Mifflin. It's bigger than Sabre. In 2019, Dunder Mifflin was quietly bought out for the third time to a company called Enervate, based in Toledo, Ohio. Enervate doesn't sell paper the way Dunder Mifflin did. Enervate sells everything paper. Office supplies, newsprint, toilet tissue. And a few years later, the same documentary crew that spent 9 years in Scranton shows up again, this time at a dying Enervate-owned newspaper in Toledo called The Truth Teller. Same crew, same format, different building. And here's the detail that should stop you cold. One Dunder Mifflin employee is still there when the crew arrives.
Not again.
Oscar, the accountant, now working for Enervate. He sees the cameras again after all these years and says, on record, I'm not agreeing to any of this. And the answer he gets is that it doesn't matter. The release he signed back in 2005 never had an end date. Followed the ownership all the way through. A public company, folded into Sabre, folded into a lone owner, folded into Enervate. 4 different names on the door in 20 years. And the one thing that survives every single handoff isn't the brand, it isn't the building, it isn't the paper. It's the name, image, and likeness of the subjects. Whoever holds that release owns the subjects, indefinitely, regardless of what the company is calling itself this time. That's not a paper company that happens to have made a documentary once. That's a data contract, wearing a paper company as a disguise, getting quietly resold with its test subjects still attached, every time.
This is a documentary? Oh, I always thought we were like specimens in a human zoo.